Hi there everybody, it's Rarity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me again today for another card making video. And we're going to be using the Spotlight on Nature sets today to make a variation of this card. Okay, I'm going to change it up a little bit. The offsetting hasn't quite worked out the way I wanted it to on this sample card, so we're going to adjust that. I've used Highland Heather and Fresh Freesia in cardstocks there, and use those Highland Heather and Fresh Freesia, that's what I said, isn't it? So Highland Heather, Fresh Freesia, Stampin' Blends as well, and it's Granny Apple Green is the green there, and a bit of iridescent ribbon. So I kind of like this circle, but I think we're going to make it more central. Okay, and then I've used the leaf stamp in the set to create a little bit of texture on the background card. Okay, so that's Spotlight on Nature. Then we have this really nice flower and the leaves. All right, these are the dies that come with it. There's 2 sheets in the pack, so you get a number of dies. I think there's 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, 12. Okay, so why is there 12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there is 6 in each. So 12 dies there, and you can see that there is different styles of circles that you can use together in combinations to get to different effects. So they're really nice standalone set. So even if you weren't particularly keen on getting the stamps, this is a really nice die set for your collection. And the sentiment for this came from Wonderful Thoughts. So mainly chose something from this because they were a nice size for the card that I was making, and they have the added advantage of having some coordinating dies to cut them out, so you don't need to fussy cut them yourself. Okay then, so as I do a lot of the time on my videos, I like to mix up the colourways. So what I've done ahead of time is we're going to go real bright. I haven't used red for a very, very long time. I just sort of used the pinks and the purples, the blues and things like that. So I wanted to sort of use something a little different. We've got Poppy Parade and we've got Real Red here for the card that we're going to make today. The mini panel I've already created, so this is 3 by 4 3/4 on a piece of Real Red that measures 3 1/8 by 4 7/8 of an inch, and that's going to go onto our Real Red card base. And just like we did before, we'll just stamp those leaves onto the background in the coordinated inks. This is Poppy Parade. I've got the inks out. This is Poppy Parade. Okay, and then we'll use this nice leaf here just to add that little bit of interest to the background. Okay, and it's just going to peek out from behind that layer. Okay, so just sort of twist and turn it so that it fills up the corners and you see different parts of the stamp. Okay, and we can fit another one in probably this way. Let's do it there. Okay, and I think I'll just pop just a little bit more in that corner there. Alright, so that's our edging done for that. And we can just pop that to one side to dry. So it's nice and subtle. Okay, and it will just give some interest to that plain background across the back there. Okay, right, let's pop that away just for a second. So we need to do our flowers. Okay, so I've already done one set and coloured it in ahead of time. Okay, because there's a bit to do, because I want a number of these flower heads to be featured into the card. So I'm going to bring in the Stampin' Blends for this. Okie dokie. Now, which ones did I do? So the stems I'm going to do in this is Lemon Lime Twist. So I'm just going to use the dark marker just to run along this stem and then drop in some colour at the base of these leaves. The artwork has some lines on it that can help you with that if you're not confident with where shading needs to be, but don't worry, don't overthink it, just do what you think's right and just pop some colour in at the base of all those leaves. You might want to go over it a couple of times just to build up that colour and make it nice and dark. And then we'll use the brush tip just to fill that in from the top downwards so that it meets that ink that we've already put down in the middle. Okay, and where they meet they will intermingle. Okay, so that's that one. Which did I do? I should have just put away the other ones, shouldn't I? I think I did the real red one. Okay, so we'll go to Poppy Parade. And the same kind of thing, really. The artwork has some lines in it that will help you determine where some of this darker colour needs to be. And where the petals overlap as well. That's where I'm going with those. Okay. And again, you can go over this a couple of times to make it nice and dark. Petals overlap here, so let's pop a streak there. Okay. Going over those lines. This is where the overlap is. Go over the lines. This is where the overlap is. Go over some lines. Okay. And you can just intensify that at the base there. I thought that the red might make them look a little like poppies. And then the light marker will drop in from the top, just like we did with the leaves. Go quiet with a colour, sorry, I'm trying to stay in the lines. Because we will be fussy cutting this out so that we can use the elements on our card topper. And I'm no pro at colouring in with alcohol markers at all. There's lots of videos out there, lots of advice and everything, so I think with this kind of thing it's a case of trying what works for you. And I find that sometimes I mix and match it. Sometimes I'll start with the dark marker, but sometimes I'll start with the light. I don't think I have a particular formula as to why I might do that. I suppose what I'm saying is whatever method works. Okay, right, so now that we've coloured those in, the Poppy Parade's just sort of a nice sort of brighter red than the real red is. Okay, alright, so it just gives you a bit of variation within the same sort of colour scheme. That's what I was going for, so that when we build the card up we've still got some definition between the flowers. I don't know whether you can tell on this one so much, but this one's got more of the fresh freesia, whereas this one's got the Highland Heather. Probably a bit more appreciative on the in real life, but I just didn't want them all to look the same, basically. So the stamping snips are real super sharp scissors that we can use to cut this out. I'm not going to sit here and do the whole thing with you on the camera. you will be pleased to know. But what I'm just going to do is just give you some general tips, and then we'll skip back and I'll come back to you when I've got it all cut out. So the first thing is to get rid of some of this excess cardstock, and just make life easier for yourself by discarding some of that. Now, as a lefty, I start and go around the image in an anti-clockwise fashion because I can see where I'm going. Obviously these are just right-handed scissors, so I think that's why I do it like this. But the key thing is that rather than moving the scissor blade, you move the cardstock as you go around these little delicate edges. So you can see there that the paper was twisting, but my left wrist was basically staying still. And opening and closing the scissor and trying to use as much of that cutting blade as possible before reopening it again. If you sort of open and close the scissor a lot, like you would see a child doing, you know, that's when you will get raggedy edges. And sometimes it's nice to get to a point where you could just snip it off, and it makes it easier for you to then turn round and get into all those little areas. So I've opened the scissor, but I'm going to try and get as far around that edge as I can. And I'm leaving a little white gap. That's just getting caught on the my hand there. So that's the other thing with cutting off some of the excess. You know, you'll find that it gets sort of snagged on, like the rivet on the scissor hinge and stuff like that. So just take your time, as I am doing. This is not a quick process. Well, kind of depends on who you're watching, really. There are people out there. I want to say Jo Blackman. She likes to fussy cut stuff. She stands out as someone who does a lot of this kind of work. So, you know, I suppose it's a case of practice makes perfect. Right, I can't see where I'm going there, so I'm going to lock that off. Okay, but you get the idea. We're going to whiz round that. Oh, I hope I was in shot. I was concentrating so hard. I wasn't paying attention to whether you could see me or not. Oh, blimey. Okay, so just cutting around that, and I'll be back when that's done. Okay, I finished fussy cutting all of these. Okay, but as you can see from the sample, I'm not actually using them the way the stamp has been drawn. I'm actually using parts of this. So I've demonstrated that you can fussy cut the whole lot and put that on your card. But if there's portions of it that you didn't want to colour in or didn't want to fussy cut around, then you could obviously selectively do that. Okay, so we're just going to snip away some of these stems from the rest of the image. I think I might take this one down to this stalk here, and it doesn't matter if the bottom looks a little bit raggedy, because we're going to be tucking it in behind other things. So I might leave that bit like that, and you know, you can cut them in different places as well. So you might decide that you want to cut this one off altogether. Okay, and we still might end up separating those ones, you know, so it's kind of up to you how much or how little of these pieces that you want to keep. So for this one, I think I might cut this so that we've got a little sort of leafy frond. like that as well. Okay, and then we can just take off that extra bit of stem on that one. Okay, so we've got bits to play with basically. Alright, and you can either separate them out entirely here as well, or we can leave them as they are and mess about with them to make our card. Okay, right, so let's get these put away because they're really sharp. So there we go. Right, the other thing we need is a sentiment, so I'm just going to bring in just this little scrap of paper and the lovely Thinking of You stamp there, and we'll use the real red, I think, to stamp that out. Let me just get that ink off before. I just like to minimise the staining on that, so I'm just going to give that a quick wipe before I set it down. And then we can just whiz that through our die cut machine when we do our circle that we need for the little feature piece. So these dies fit very closely around that image, so you just want to look for all your loops, and there's posh names for loops and things on lettering, but I can't remember what they are. So that's ready to die cut on there, and then we need our circle. So I used this one on the sample, but of course we've got various ones that we could use. Just wondering whether, yeah, I will just keep it the same size. So the equivalent on the other half of the package is this one. So let's just change that up and use that one instead, just to show you can get a bit of variety on that. I don't have a scrap piece of cardstock out. Let me just rummage through here and see if I can find some. Oh, it's got a score line on it. Need elevator music while I'm rummaging in my scrap bin. That's too small. Oh, that'll do. There we go. That'll do. Sorry if you can hear some banging. Someone's doing some work outside. Right as I've started to film. It's very warm here today. Lots of people outside doing stuff. Okay, right. So we've got our little die cut elements there. So there's our circle and there's our sentiment that we can use now. And we can now start thinking about how we're going to build up this little bouquet of flowers, basically. So I think what we'll do is we'll use a combination of wet glue and dimensionals. And I think we'll use this one as the starting point. So I'm just going to pop just a little bit behind each of the flowers and a couple of bits on the leaf. We just want it to be held in place, really. Okay, and if you think it's going to go off the edge, you might want to put some scrap paper underneath there just to protect your surface. It's a bit far away. There we go. And then maybe we can pop this one in over here. And it won't matter about all this stuff at the bottom because we can tidy that up or cover it up with the sentiment. Pop these leaves in. Don't need a lot of glue. It's very strong, so you don't need much of it at all. Okay, and now I think we might have some of this with some break off that stem. I think we'll put a couple of dimensionals on the back of this, so we'll use some minis. So we want some dimension, I think, so the minis just about fit on the back of these. And of course, with it being a circle, we can sort of twizzle it around and do what we need to do with it. Okay, and of course the beauty of using them separately like this means that we can position them where we want them to. Okay, not even gluing that bottom bit down. It's just going to be held in by the so I could just tuck that in there. Okay, so you can really have some fun with how you want to lay these out and move things around and shuffle them about a bit. Not sure I like that leaf stuck out there by itself. So you don't need a lot of glue, but oh. Just want to pull that one out. Just wondering whether I can get that into the back behind there. Yep. As far down as possible. Okay, that looks a bit better. But you can mess about with that as much as you like, and then we can pop the sentiment over the top, which sort of just tidies up that little bit. So it's up to you whether you want to leave the stems actually visible at the bottom of there. I think I might cut them off, so I just snip away those little ends there. And then, because we've got loads of dimension to get this stuck to, I'm going to use plenty of wet glue. Decide which way up I want that. So with it being a circle, I've got that option to sort of twizzle that around a little bit. Okay, and then what you can do is pop a block on that and just make sure everything's going to be nice and stuck down. Okay, so we can leave that to dry just for a second as well. Okay, so let's just move that out of the way just for a minute. Put the block on top. While that's just firming up, we'll get some ribbon. This is some new ribbon. This is called Frayed Grosgrain ribbon. Frayed Grosgrain ribbon. Bit of a mouthful, that is. Okay, which we can just pop across the middle. So this is going to add a really lovely element of texture to it. See, it's all, I don't know whether you can see how textured it is. So that's going to be nice on there. So I'm just going to use some tape to secure that on the back. Just across the middle. So that's going to be quite bulky. Just wonder if I'll put that up onto some dimensionals onto the card base actually, because that's got got some bulk on it. I wasn't intending to do that. I was going to put it down flat because we've got the dimension on the flowers, but the ribbon is going to pull that up a little bit, so I'm going to pop it up on dimensionals. The other one that I use, that iridescent ribbon, dear me, it's quite flat, so it doesn't really add much bulk to the card at all. And so that we got a bit of a chance to make sure the alignment's right on the card, we'll pop a couple of dabs of wet glue onto those, and it means that you've got that little, you know, this, it sort of just floats then, so that we can just make sure it's nice and straight and pop that down. Okay, this should be ready to go now, and again we'll need some dimensionals on that. So for this, I'm actually going to put them on here, north and south of the, oops, that's not set yet, so just be careful. Again, we don't want to try and adhere that over that textured ribbon, so we'll put those dimensionals in place, and then we will pop our little top hat over the top. Again, you could pop some glue on there if you wanted to give yourself a little bit of breathing space with the positioning. Just trying to make sure my sentiment's straight. Okay, now on the other one I did add a little bit of extra ribbon texture and stuff, but I don't think it needs it really, to be honest. It was just, I had a little bit of scrap left over and I thought I'd use it. So I think we're going to leave it like that. Okay, could add some Wink of Stella and some pearls to that. So like these, you know, the iridescent pearls, they're very nice to add to these. It's just that little pop of white. If I can get the drawer open. Where are my iridescent pearls? They should be just there. Oh, there they are. So we can add some of those on in our nice little trio that we like. Okay, and just helps to add a little bit of something to that plain white layer and brings the design together. Okay, so that's my red version. Here is my purple version. Okay, so I know that some of the ladies that watch my videos regularly really like the purple, but I think we want this over to the side. I think, ladies, I think that's what we want to do. Okay, but anyway, that's an idea to use the Spotlight in Nature stamp set in a slightly different way, rather than just sticking with the image as it is on the actual packaging. Okay, hope you've enjoyed that. Please do like, subscribe and share and everything else. All the links to all the products I've used are in the description. You can take a closer look there. Don't forget also to check out the online store. There's a link there for that as well, because it's not just about the catalogue these days. There's loads of additional products that are available online only as well. Alright, thanks ever so much. Hope you're staying safe, take care, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.